Hello and welcome to the Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate's movies and TV series, including SG-1, Atlantis Universe, and more. I'm Father Cory Sticha. With me today are Lisa Jones and Victor Lambs. Howdy, Lisa.
Hey, Father Cory.
And howdy, Victor.
Howdy do, Father Cory.
Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to join our Discord server. We're having a lot of fun over there. You can find your invite at sqpn.com/discord. Also, you go to sqpn.com/merch to get your t-shirts, mugs, stickers, and much, much more. You can have the nice Secrets of Stargate t-shirt that I'm wearing, except I'm wearing my black shirt over it, so you can't actually see it, but you'll have to trust me. I am wearing it. You can get that and much more there at sqpn.com/merch. Today, we are discussing The Light, 18th episode from the 4th season of Stargate SG-1. The Goa'uld have created a human bug zapper. An ancient Goa'uld palace contains a light show that draws in those who visit. SG-5 and Daniel return to Earth after exploring the palace and begin to go through withdrawal symptoms, leading to the deaths of SG-5 team members and Daniel's near-suicide attempt. SG-1 goes to investigate, finding a 15-year-old child hiding in the palace, and they begin to experience the same symptoms. A hidden Goa'uld device under the light show creates an addictive chemical imbalance. Once they figure out the addiction device, they're able to wean themselves off of it over the course of 3 weeks. So, Victor, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, this episode shouldn't work as well as it does. I'm not saying it's a great episode or it's one of my favorite episodes, but on paper, this probably shouldn't have worked as well as it did. It's another, Daniel gets whammied. The pacing's kind of slow. We're in the light room. We're out of the light room. They're trying to figure out what people are addicted to. Is it the light? Is it not the light? Is it the light? And I think what really sells it is Lauren, the character Lauren, and then Jack's relationship, and even Teal'c's interactions with him, and just the pathos and the story that Lauren brings to the table. So. It's like I said, not one of my favorites, but on paper it shouldn't work as well as it does, but it's an episode you can watch for sure.
Mm-hmm. Lisa?
I will partially agree with Victor. I do think it's a kind of if this episode was not in season 4, it would be considered a much better episode than it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem is that season 4 is one of the best seasons, and it's definitely the best season of the 4 so far. So, like I said, if I think it was against like season 2, we'd be like, wow, this was a great episode. But, but because season 4 is such a darn good season, we're kind of like, meh, it is what it is. It's kind of middle of the road to me. It's not bad. It's not great. It's enjoyable. I enjoy watching it back. There are nice little moments with different team members and characters. I will say that kind of in the light of all of the mental health crisis that is going on in this country, especially, it is kind of, it's hard to watch back and to, face Daniel facing suicide and have the character in the very beginning, and then they lose a whole team. So for me, that part, 20 something years later, just is really hard to watch, in the way that it's handled. But overall, I've always liked this episode. And Jack finally gets his vacation.
Yeah. For
he
3
does.
weeks.
It's a 3-week vacation in a castle by the sea.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I have to admit, there is a little bit of the, after school special of, in this. This is clearly, we need to talk about, drug addiction and suicide and things like that. There's a little bit of that. And I mean, you could go through the DVD notes and things like that and probably, learn more about it, why it was done, when they did it and everything. It was Richard Dean Anderson, because he's always been very strong on, pushing a lot of the, the say no to drugs and the, suicide awareness and things like that. And all good things to push. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's always been a good advocate for people. But was this kind of like, no, I want an episode where we talk about drug addiction and things like that? Because I mean, and he kind of calls it out of, well, there goes a lifetime of saying no to drugs.
Yeah.
It's kind of an explicit thing. So, but that being said, for an episode that really is an episode about addiction and withdrawal and suicide, it's probably one of the best ones out there. I mean, and it is a good episode. You're right, Lisa. This is one. If this was first season, second season, we'd be calling this one of the stronger episodes of the season. But you compare this to Window of Opportunity. You can compare this to 2010. You compare this even to the previous episode we just talked about. This kind of pales in comparison. So,
yeah, and it feels like it's kind of walking a familiar path. Like we had, Daniel getting addicted to the sarcophagus in need, right? And acting like a jerk to his friends. Last episode, we had him getting, whammied by the Harcesis child and being a jerk to his friends. And then in this one, he gets whammied, he gets addicted again and is a jerk to General Hammond and stuff. But apart from that, I think maybe it would have been like better if Sam had like been exposed initially. And we do get one scene where she and Jack are, having withdrawal symptoms and kind of get into it. And that just is like, oh no, like mom and dad are fighting, moment there.
Exactly.
And so it kind of would have been interesting to see how that would have played out if Sam had just like laid into General Hammond or something. Just because we've seen Daniel do it so many times before.
Yeah. Well, and Daniel can get away with it because he's the civilian contractor versus, Jack or Sam, who basically all he has to do is say is stand at attention now. The argument ends. It's very different when rank is involved versus a civilian getting involved in that. But yeah, it is another Daniel gets whammy. But in this time though, it's they all do, and and I did like that scene on the beach where Jack and Sam are starting to go at it with each other, and
it's
like
says,
that's
Sir.
no way, Colonel. It's like you're not just gonna say no way to me. That's no way, Colonel.
You don't
She's
expect
like,
keep this up the rest of our lives. Yeah. The rest of our lives, sir. Yeah.
Exactly.
It felt very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to go back to Daniel kind of laying into General Hammond, he's facing withdrawal and he's, telling General Hammond he needs to go back to the light and saying that General Hammond just isn't getting the point. And then we get a really good kind of rejoinder from General Hammond where he's been spending the last 2 hours working on either Lieutenant or Sergeant Barber's
Lieutenant,
is it his notes his family where he can't divulge anything or why he died, what he was doing there and stuff, and I thought that was very effective.
And that was quite the scene to start out with too, where you can see when Jack's talking to him about the bet. And of course the bet was that Sam wasn't going to go on vacation, but she was going to go out and check this out. But when Jack's talking to this lieutenant about the bet, this Lieutenant Barber, and he just got that distant, yes, sir. I don't know what's going on here. And of course he was just waiting for the kawoosh so he could go jump into it and get annihilated.
Yeah. And this is SG, you mentioned SG5. I was looking at I think they're the 5th SG team to get completely wiped out.
Yeah.
Because we had SG7, SG11, SG10, SG6, and now SG5. So,
yeah. did 11 get a couple of times? Or
yeah, they're not all prime numbers or something. So, but that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
If they were.
I mean, it's expected for a show like this. You're going to have the other teams are basically red shirts. They're there to get wiped out so SG-1 can come in and save the day. Or at least get injured or whatever, so SG-1 can come in and save the day. They're the Captain Kirks. They're the prime officers, and everybody else is just kind of there to make them look good.
Well, and up until now, they haven't, except for Kowalski, they haven't really killed off a major character. So, which we know they will down the road and deal with the emotional fallout from it.
Yeah.
But for now, they just keep using the red shirts.
Exactly. As it should be. That's what they're there for.
Well, and in this episode, Teal'c finally had a little bit more to do. than he has the rest of the season, except for the one episode that was all about him. When I re-listen, we talk a lot about how Teal'c doesn't have anything to do. And that episode with Lauren was very nice, I thought. Very well done, talking about birthdays and the weapon, the toy gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was, you really, I was thinking about the one where he was the bug and they had, I don't remember the girl's name, the girl that plays Cassandra later. You know, and they had him interacting with her, remember, in the warehouse?
Yeah, Scooter or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Or not Scooter, but yeah.
But they, you know, he just has such a nice rapport with children, much like Richard Dean Anderson does. And so I thought you really saw that come through for this. It was a nice addition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we figure out in this episode that Teal'c is 101.
And about to have a birthday.
About to have a birthday. And I saw online that, you know, judging that this episode came out, you know, in mid-January 2001, there's speculation that Teal'c's birthday is March 14th, 1899.
Wow.
Yeah.
That puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Well,
we
of course,
learned that
we
they
knew
don't
that Teal'c was much older than he appeared, so...
Yeah.
And we learned they don't celebrate birthdays.
Right.
Probably because they have so many of them. Or, you know.
Well, they're it's not about them. It's about the Goa'uld that they're
that's right. Yeah.
part of. You know, so why would they celebrate their birthday? You know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Goa'uld allows them to have their birthday. So,
or maybe there was like a Christian Scientist civilization that they ran into first or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Probably.
And I give you a copy of the Watchtower.
Well, it's you know, I mean, do Klingons celebrate their birthdays? I don't think so, unless they're on a human ship. So maybe the Goa'uld follows it, or maybe the Jaffa follow the same practice. We're here to die, so we don't want to celebrate the how long we've been alive instead of dying.
Yeah. Of course, that assumes also that Chulak has an orbit that is like similar to Earth's. If it had an orbit that was only like 100 days, it's interesting. And then Lauren has a frame of reference for years as well, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's 15 years old, he says, but again, is that 15 Earth years? Is that, you know, if he's on a planet that's the distance of Mars, that would be, you know, much less, or that'd be longer than 15 Earth years. He'd be closer to 20.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the actor was like 22 or something like that, anyways.
Yeah, it's still in that era when you would have like I'm a 17-year-old, and you look it up and the actor's like 28, and you're like, okay. Yeah, you don't. I mean, he doesn't. I hate to say it, that was not a good casting because he did not look 15 at all. I think it would be even more effective if he was supposed to be like, you know, 20 or 21, but still had kind of like, you know, the mental. If he had been there for like, you know, 10 years or something, which you know, what did he eat? Like they talk about how they have to like send food through the gate for SG-1 to eat, and what's Lauren been eating like the whole time?
I assume they found the canned food supplies for the Goa'uld.
Yeah, I don't know, like
natural plants out on the beach, little crustaceans or something.
He hunted. Yeah, I mean, it was easy, obviously easy enough to get out of the palace to get onto the beach, so you could probably find things.
He was eating rabbit.
Yeah.
Space rabbits.
Yeah.
So we see yet another of Daniel's apartments. He keeps changing apartments. You ever notice that?
He does. This one's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I looked it up. They show you, when they show the building, it's Helmken Street and Mainland Street in Vancouver, of course, but this is supposed to be Colorado Springs. And that corner is actually today Yaletown Brewing Company, the building that they show.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually a commercial building, you know, because they show the one building. So you can go look at it now. So now you need to go up to Vancouver and find Yaletown Brewing Company and go have a beer underneath Daniel's apartment.
There we go. Sounds like a great place for a meetup.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I don't know how many. I wonder how many Canadian listeners we have. Let us know if you're a Canadian listener. Eh?
Yeah.
Now I just turned them off.
Yeah, Daniel. This is like his third or fourth, isn't it?
Yeah, at least third, because he had one. I don't think. Yeah, we did see it earlier this season too, didn't we?
I don't remember.
Yeah. This is at least his third, because the apartment that they cleaned out or going to clean out when they thought he was dead.
In the
wasn't
giant,
the same one that he had
Crystal
later.
Skull.
In water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then Crystal Skull, didn't we see it again in Crystal Skull? Or, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Was
Yeah,
that
so-
the season?
No, I don't know.
I'm like, man, it's all running together now.
Yeah. But I suppose it's like anything else, is what's available when they're shooting.
Right.
When they want to shoot a Daniel's apartment scene, what's available? And it's like Jack's cottage, same thing. He's had several houses, and then now he's got his Minnesota cottage. So and lake. So that again, it's whatever that's available for them.
Yeah.
Now this episode's called The Light, and it's about this light, which we think the light is what's addictive and causing like dopamine rushes and stuff, but it's actually a transmitter under the light, and the light is just kind of like laser fluid, the light show you look at.
The light does have a attractive nature where people are sucked into it. Because, there's a couple of times where Jack says, it's been an hour already, where he's just zoned out on the light. But then you've got the thing underneath that's...
Yeah, that's the drugs. I mean, the transmitter there. So we have a lot of beats where it's like, is it the light? Is it something else? Is it something, because, Daniel's on death's door. And then, Jack basically like carries him through the Stargate, and he starts to recover when he's nowhere near the light. And so they eventually piece together that it's something else. And, they take it apart, but they can't figure out how to turn it on or off. And then Lauren knows, of course, because the tragic thing is that, Lauren's parents came to this planet and they got addicted to the point where they ignored their kid and, asked him to keep bringing him food and stuff. So there's, the whole, addicted parent sort of kind of routine running through that, where the kid has to take care of the parent basically until he just like stops to see if they'll come out. And then when they do get hungry and come out, he turns it off and they go nutso and run into the ocean and stuff. So, that was pretty sad. Yeah.
But yeah, he was able to figure out how to turn off the drug device.
Yep.
Not just the remote control for the light, which looks like a big, fancy garage door opener.
Yeah,
type thing,
it does. That it just needed the batteries to charge up, and from that they can dial it down a little bit at a time, so they don't have to quit cold turkey or anything like that. So
yeah, and I liked the aspect of the light. You think about it; it was the electronic thing or whatever that was the addictive portion, but the light is what attracted them and drew them to it, where they couldn't leave the room. If you think about it, once they turned the light off, they didn't just stand around and look into space anymore.
Right.
So I liked the scene where Jack had been on Earth, comes back with Daniel. They've sent stuff through the gate. Like Carter and Teal'c didn't know that he'd gone and come back, and then he gets stuck with the light, and then Daniel comes. It's just they're trying so hard, and I kind of liked that. And then once they figured out how to turn off the light, then they didn't get stuck and lose time anymore.
Well, yeah, I like that first scene where they got sucked into it, where they found out it's been an hour. And you see Jack just standing there staring at it, and then all of a sudden just kind of shakes his head and is like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
And then, Sam and Teal'c are both standing there, and Teal'c's got, his goofy smile on his face. And it's like, let's go. What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And wasn't there one point where like he literally grabs Sam and turns her around? Because she's just so zonked out on this light. It's like, stop looking at it.
And then they go in and they're like, we're just going to look at the base. We're not going to look at the light. And then they still get stuck.
And they still, yeah. So the light definitely had an attractive element to it. And I will say this, for year 2000, 2001, that was very impressive. Light effects and special effects and everything. It looked really, really good for the time.
Because it does have this volumetric, like there's like, it's almost like a mist at some point, but it's light and it's lighting up the actors' faces while, they're kind of interacting, and it's kind of this like, mist-like substance and stuff. So yeah, it was very, very cool.
Yeah. I mean, and some of it you could tell it was just gel lighting, just standard gel lighting that was moving. And some of it was, CGI of some sort. And they did a really good job with it. So, I mean, it made it look effective. All I can think of those, I can't remember which one. I think it was one of the Pixar movies where you see these two bugs and one's flying towards the light. Oh, it's so beautiful. Stay away from the light. Stay away from the light. Zap.
Blinded by the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they got the idea for the got it.
Yeah.
From a drug trip on music.
Manfred Man.
Yeah.
By the way, have you ever heard the original Bruce Springsteen version? Very, very different.
Wait,
Bruce Springsteen produced it. Bruce Springsteen wrote it and produced it first.
Before Manfred Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I may have. I don't recall. Yeah,
it's very different. It's very different. Okay. Think of Bruce Springsteen style, but then those lyrics.
Okay.
Look that up later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, I think it was Bruce Springsteen wrote and recorded it, and then Manfred Man re-recorded it, and of course that's the big hit,
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Which is weird, right? But
yeah.
We don't find out how long Lorne had been there.
No.
Right? Or how long he'd been alone even without his parents.
I mean, his clothes look pretty rugged, so you assume he'd probably been there for a while. And he had a lot of stuff that he had collected together in his little bedroom. So
yeah, and I was thinking the way he spoke to them but didn't want to be... He spoke as someone who maybe had been alone for a while and maybe had, since he was a child, not matured fully, kind of lost that social interaction.
Yeah, and I mean, his parents were completely deteriorated to bones. There was, nothing left but a few scraps of cloth and bones. So, that takes a while, even, somewhat exposed to the elements like they were.
Yeah. And in his photo, and he has that photo of him with his parents. And and so he looks to be, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 there or something. So I don't know.
Might have been, a few years anyways. But he probably had to figure out how to hunt if he didn't already know. He probably had to, figure out how to scavenge if he didn't already know, things like that. But
I guess he'd been bringing them food while they were addicted. So he was already having to figure that out because it had been a while before they died.
You would assume that they first went there because they were travelers. They were, explorers or whatever. And so you would assume they showed up with so much food for however long they were planning on staying there.
Right.
So.
Yeah. What's he going to do now that he's on Earth, right? So he joins the ranks of children who are the SG team has brought back to Earth.
They have like a boarding school with all these kids in it, or what?
School for exceptional young people, or something.
Maybe we'll send them to the planet where the kids were all the smart ones, and then they got all the knowledge taken from them.
Yeah.
And he can go to that school instead.
Yeah.
Maybe they just send them all to the beta site. Oh, we don't have a beta site yet, do we?
Not yet. I think they.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they didn't they try to establish one, and then it was.
Yeah, the first one I think was discovered by the Goa'uld, and.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Well, they had the one too where there was the watching the solar flare through the telescope, and it turns out everybody ends up dead, and that was one of them. So they haven't had much luck yet with beta sites.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't think about there are a good amount of alien children running around in Colorado
unfortunately,
Springs.
Cassandra's the only one we ever see again. I don't think we see any of the other ones.
No, we don't see Jack's clone again. We don't see not Ryak, but the other one.
Yeah.
The one with the Ritu.
Yeah.
He's still around, isn't he?
Yeah, Nyan. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, and then Nyan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But that is interesting when they bring them back. I mean, I don't know. You'd like to think that maybe
that'll be a new series. Will be all these kids that were brought back through the Stargate trying to getting back through it again.
The 100.
They were put into foster care with SGC personnel. There you go.
Yeah.
The Left Behinds or something.
There's we don't talk about level 23.
Yeah, exactly.
What's on level 23? A very big playground.
Yeah, exactly.
A nursery.
And then it's just all those foothold, like, pods that they're all hanging in and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Being fed artificial simulations.
Yeah.
So on that note, anything else you want to say about this episode?
I feel bad because it's not a bad episode, but it's just, I don't know. It's this. I feel like I don't have much to say.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, Joseph Malazzi, I just saw a quote here that he considers it one of the few misses of the last half of season 4. It didn't really click for him. I think, like I said, it shouldn't work. It's kind of a, message episode. There's a lot of like repeated elements from other Daniel Gets Addicted episodes, but I think there's enough going on with Lauren and Jack and Teal'c to make this one worth watching in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So do we have any alternate titles?
Yeah, most of them were just translations of The Light into other various languages. In French, it's that, candlestick from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
La Lumière. Yeah. That's Lauren coming to be a guest. I can't sing any more of it, otherwise we'll have to pay Disney, but and
probably too late.
Yeah. And Czech, it's Svetlo is the light. And then German, Das Licht.
It's actually just the light in German. It's not gets addicted.
Yeah.
No, it's not the addiction of the light unto darkness or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool to like give some of these like, Star Trek Discovery names or something, with a really long, like the light of addiction is what draws the moth to darkness or something.
Yeah.
But,
so we have a little bit of feedback here this week.
We do. Excellent.
Yay!
Yes, we do. From Paul Leone on YouTube. He's talking about our episode 79 for Chain Reaction, the great return of Mayborn.
Yes.
He says, this is a fun episode. Mayborn is maybe my favorite recurring character. 2010 is great too. Yeah, I think we all agree that Mayborn becomes such a great character, And this is kind of the point where like I said when we talked about this, where he kind of starts coming in his own. He's no longer the NID nerd. He's becoming his own character and kind of pushing back against Jack, and and we see the bromance established in this one. So yeah, enjoy Mayborn. We'll get to see a lot more of him, especially when he becomes king.
Yeah.
That
He
was such a fun
just
episode.
can't wait to be king. There you go.
Oh,
Now that's another.
now we owe him $1 million.
Yeah.
So before Victor causes us to spend more money to Disney, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Robert D, David B, Bill Q, Elaine H, and Andrew V. And if Victor keeps going, we'll need a lot more patrons.
Yes.
Because their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or other podcast apps. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. If you enjoy the Secrets of Stargate, please share this with your friends and those you know. Share those with those you know are interested in Stargate and our other shows. You can share them from your podcast app, or you can share them again from YouTube. To find the previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. Our email for feedback is stargate@sqpn.com. Follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. We'll be back next time when we'll be discussing Prodigy, and not the Star Trek series. That's on Secrets of Star Trek. The episode Prodigy, which is the next episode of SG-1. Until then, Lisa Jones, thank you for joining me in sharing the Secrets of Stargate.
Thanks, Father Cory.
And Victor Lambs, thank you as well.
Thanks, Father Cory. And remember, none of it means anything.
And once again, I'm Father Cory Sticha. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest. And that's no way, Colonel.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?
There we go. Hey, whoa, now we got two.
Uh-oh.
I'm seeing double.